How do we take an e-commerce store that's currently sitting around here doing maybe $100 a day to an e-commerce store that's making $1,000 a day? If you're in the position right now where you're running a brand and you're making a few $100s a day, but you want to take it to $1,000 per day, but nothing seems to work, whether you run ads, you can't get conversions, or you're unprofitable, this video is hopefully going to solve what is quite a complex problem in a fairly simple way using what I'm calling continuity funnels. Okay, so stick around for this entire video. So currently, right, we've got a store that's only making a few sales and we want to take it to this point here. This is a brand, right, that I worked on for over a year and a half, and we finally managed to get it to the point where we could do $500,000 in 1 month. And it takes a while to get to this point, and the principles that I'm going to teach in this video are going to show you exactly how to do that for your brand. Okay, so in the last video, I did a brief tutorial explaining to you how you can actually test multiple ads and get a winning ad strategy. Okay, and essentially the idea comes down like this. We have 5 marketing angles. Okay, and the example I used was skincare. So we've got things like dry skin, acne, hypoallergenic. These are all different marketing angles and pain points that we can focus on. Okay, I want you to remember that. That's quite important. Okay, so at the end of this, we ultimately are testing multiple ads for each angle. Okay, and that's what this color coding here means. We've got 3 different blues, 3 different greens, and 3 different oranges. Okay, this means ad number 1, ad number 2, and ad number 3. And this is basically the same video ad, but we're testing different hooks at the start. If you want more details on this, go ahead and watch the other video. Now, I want to make sure that you have time to digest all of this information. So I have actually created a free course and a free live training, which is linked down below. If you go ahead and click on the link below in the description, I'm doing a live Q&A free training case study. You can ask me any questions, and you also get a free 3-hour course when you register. But more on that later. So most people end up in this position when they're running maybe $50 to $100 a day in ad spend, and they're making $200-300 a day in revenue, but they want to double or triple their ad spend. But as they do that, they start to see less profit. And the reason this happens is because of a continuity error. Okay, so when somebody sees the dry skin angle, they are being sold in the advert on dry skin, or a solution to dry skin. But then when they come to your website, because you've been testing 5 different angles, that website is not necessarily optimized for that specific angle. Okay, now when you're at low scale and low budget, it doesn't matter too much, because the people who come onto your website, there will be a mix. Okay, so essentially what we have here is we've got angle 1, we've got angle 2, and we've got angle 3. Okay, and this circle in the middle here is your landing page. You're essentially trying to target every single pain point and convert customers from every single pain point. Now, when you're spending a small amount of money on ads, most of the people who come onto your website will actually be within this patch here. And that's just because your ads are more focused and more targeted. But as you increase your spend, what happens is Facebook has to go and have a look at a larger, more broad audience. And as this happens, less and less people will coincide with this little ring in the center. So you kind of get concentric rings is an easy way of understanding this, until at a certain point, the number of people that come to your website that are not part of that core audience outweighs the number of people who are part of that core audience. And that is when we start to become unprofitable. Okay, so basically the number of core traffic, right, core traffic being the people who are most likely to purchase, becomes less than the number of broad. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to create a landing page for each different ad angle. Okay, so this is why in the previous video, when I basically explained how to create multiple different ads, I explained that actually we want to limit it to a certain number of angles to start off with, and then we want to test different variations of that angle. Now, the reason we do this is because as we test a variation of one angle, for example the dry skin angle, it could be that this variation here works. Okay, so actually we can start to test multiple variations in one angle very quickly while keeping the core marketing exactly the same. And this becomes very advantageous when we're spending a lot more money on ads, because we're never really changing the number of angles too considerably to get to the point where we need to create multiple landing pages. To try and make this make more sense, this is kind of what you're going through at the moment. Every single one of your ads is pushing to one specific landing page, and at this point you're basically muddying the traffic. You're not really sure which ones are converting, and it's very difficult to tell which one is the problem. Okay, is the problem to do with your landing page, or is the problem to do with your ads? Okay, and you can't have this when you're at high scale. You need to know exactly what problems are happening in your business that are stopping you from scaling. Okay, so basically we're going to swap this out with a new strategy. So this is basically what it's going to end up looking like. Now you can start off with as many angles as you want and as many landing pages as you want, and we'll go through exactly how to create the landing page in a second. But essentially what we're doing here is we're running one campaign with one ad set with multiple ads, but you want to push budget from this set of ads to this landing page, this set of ads to this landing page, and this set of ads to this landing page, because that way what's going to happen now is there is essentially going to be a bit of audience overlap, okay? But as we start to increase our spend, as the majority of people from our ad spend from angle 3 ends up in this pot here, they are all going to the correct landing page, which means we're going to get a much higher percentage of people converting. It just means we can increase the conversion rates because we now actually have continuity in our landing pages, okay? So that is the general principle of building these continuity funnels, okay? Now this becomes very complicated at high scale because you've got multiple angles and you're running multiple ads. So obviously you're going to need a way of tracking this and keeping up with exactly what's happening and what results that you're getting. We know that this is actually making us sales regardless of which angle that we're getting. So when we're running multiple tests at higher budget, we still need a campaign which is actually testing out all of these different ads, okay? So you may find that actually after like the first week, none of these angles work. So you want to test 5 new angles, and you need to have that one campaign, and that one campaign needs to be pushing to the control. We're exclusively talking about when we're scaling up those ads, okay? And this stuff I go through in a lot more detail in the live training, guys. The link is obviously down below. You can ask me any questions or I can try and apply this to your specific use case or your specific business. Okay, so now how do we actually create these landing pages? Well, I've gone through this in other videos and we're going to sort of make a more dedicated video to this, but essentially what we're creating here is advertorials, okay? Advertorials are the key to seeing success and seeing long-term results in your business, especially at high scale. And it's just a way of getting the most conversions. So here's an exercise that I want you to do, okay? You're going to create a table, and on that table, you're going to create 2 columns, okay? So on one column, we're going to have limiting beliefs, and the other column, we're going to have pain points. So pain points are very, very easy to find. These are reasons why somebody wants to buy the product. These are problems that they have in their lives that your product actually solves. So with the acne one, this is going to be things like it's comfortable, okay? This is more of a feeling, okay, how they feel in themselves. This is going to be, scarring, and these are basically all problems, draining, emotionally draining. All of these are pain points and reasons why people want to get rid of acne, okay? The limiting belief side, okay, the way that I apply it to e-commerce is essentially looking at why they haven't bought from somebody before, okay, or why they're not going to buy from you because they've been burnt before. This is because they didn't get long-term results, okay? So for example, if you've been using the acne cream for 6 months and then you stop, it may have cleared the acne while you've been using it, but once you stop using it, you'll find that the acne comes back. So what's to guarantee that the product that you're selling is in fact going to solve their problem, okay? That's an example of a limiting belief. Another one could probably be side effects, okay? And then what you want to do is list all of these out, and it's very easy to do this market research if you just look for people having conversations about your product or your niche or the problem on TikTok and just have a look at the conversations that they're having in the comments section. We then take this information and we then apply it directly to our landing page, okay? And the way that we do this is we bundle this all up in a story. Now there are multiple ways to write these stories and there are ways to do it. The way that I like to use is the Epiphany Bridge, which is a system described by Russell Brunson, okay? So we're going to try and simplify this as much as possible. Essentially we have a backstory, okay? The easiest way of writing a story like this is coming across from the point of view of somebody who has experienced the same problem that your customer is going to experience or is currently experiencing. For example, right in the acne example, you could write a story about yourself when you were 16 and you started to have acne and you had all of those problems, but you went to a dermatologist to try and solve those problems. Okay, this is the backstory. So that is basically how we define the backstory. We're basically trying to create a situation here where somebody can relate to us. Okay, then there is the wall. Okay, this is the journey that they took to get to this new epiphany. But the wall is essentially at a certain point you hit a barrier. Something happened that required you to go on a journey to find a solution to the problem. Okay, so in this case, for the acne example I explained earlier, you went to the dermatologist. The dermatologist recommended a specific product that multiple people would have used. Then from that situation, you applied it, you used it for 6 months, but the acne came back. That is the wall, okay? So then you went on a journey, and the journey that you went on was trying to find a solution to this problem. Maybe you didn't like the side effects and the fact it came back, so you went looking for a natural solution until at some point you met somebody who gave you this idea, okay? And this idea was to try this new product, okay? Or for some reason, somehow you had this epiphany to try this new product, okay? Then you had a plan, and your plan was, I'm going to go ahead and create this product. I did it myself and I had a whole load of problems. There was a load of internal conflicts, whether this was a good thing, whether other people are going to like what I'm doing, all of these things, until eventually I ended up creating this product and it solved the problem. The achievement was I ended up clearing my acne. It went away and it never came back, and there weren't any side effects from using this. It was a natural product. But internally I went through a transformation, okay? And this transformation is the same transformation that your customers also want to go through, okay? So the achievement is what they want, and the transformation is more of an internal change in their behavior or an internal change in their belief system afterwards. So that is generally the idea of how you write your story, okay? And you can weave in and out throughout your story. You need to be weaving in and out the problems and the different limiting beliefs that you had and felt right at the start. You don't need to just spend hours writing multiple landing pages right at the start, but you want to make sure that you have a template structure that you can swap out. So for example, the focus on the first one would obviously be a focus on angle 1, okay? So the entire epiphany bridge and the entire story and the entire journey you went on was to solve dry skin and only dry skin. You do not mention any of the other ones. You only mention dry skin. So when I was younger, I had really bad dry skin. I went to the dermatologist and they recommended this moisturizer, okay? That's the first one. We then make a second landing page, which is for angle 2, which is hyperallergenic. When I was younger, I had loads of problems with rashes on my skin. Turns out I was allergic to loads of things. I tried a whole load of bio washing powders and all of these things, but nothing ever worked. So I then tried this cream, which is obviously what you're selling. Then it did work, okay? That's angle 2. You do not talk about dry skin, okay? Angle number 3, this is acne, okay? When I was younger, I had acne. I went to the dermatologist. They recommended this cream. It didn't work, so I then created this new cream, which did work, okay? You do not talk about dry skin, and you do not talk about hypoallergenic stuff in this one, okay? So you can see how it's the same kind of structure, and you can very easily, once you've created your template, you can just iterate that across multiple. And the reason for this is you're just giving yourself as many possible chances to become profitable as you possibly can, okay? Now at this point, you're probably wondering, how on earth do I do all of this, okay? So it's probably a bit of an information overload. The good news is, if you actually click the link down below in the description, I have a free course and I'm doing a live free training Q&A where I can apply these principles directly to your business, okay? So you can ask me any questions that you have on that live training. If you want to get the free course, you have to register for the live training. So the link is down below in the description or up here in the cards. These are the things you're going to learn in that free course, okay? So for example, how do you choose a product if you haven't yet got a product? How do you build a store? How do you build these landing pages? How do you write these advertorials? How to scale your brand using Facebook ads and using paid marketing and using these advertising strategies at scale, and then also how you can systemize your entire business, okay? So there's a whole host of free stuff in there. That is linked down below. Now you can only get access to that if you turn up for the live training. Again, that is going to be a $100,000 per day case study. We're going to go through this in a lot more detail, and you can ask me any questions you want during the entire live training. I hope this was useful to you, but I will see you in my next video.